Sound here with another Vikings or Clans video. So this video is going to be a little bit late. We had the home gang that just passed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record this event live or like stream it or even record it live from home. I was driving, I was on my way back home when the event started. So at this point, I've missed the first round of towers, which was attacking. And what we see here on out from the video is going to be us defending. And because I wasn't able to record in a good setting, I decided to dub over the video. So pretty much I'm just going to play the video in the background, and we're just going to react or put some input as to what exactly is happening in the video, and yeah, just go from there. Basically, the time that I start recording this, the one thing that we can see is obviously we're all sitting around the forts, and the enemy is moved also closer to the fort so they can send onslaughts. Here I'm trying to boost in, but I accidentally clicked away. So just to refresh my reinforcements, the one benefit of fighting an enemy like this, I think they weren't fighting with more than 2 onslaughts, which gave us an advantage when it came to like reinforcing. Surprisingly, they also onslaughted my main city, which was just a big of a shocker for me. But pretty much all I have to do here is look at the defenses, make sure that defenses are happening accordingly. We still have a good amount of troops left every time that they hit. And that just means that by the time they get their second onslaught going, the third, or refilling their onslaughts, we have enough time for our reinforcements to go back in. And here you can see some of their players even targeting our cities instead of going for like fully committing to their onslaughts. But all I have to do basically at this point when I'm in defense is bother about how many troops we have in the forts, whether I need to refresh, whether it's safe for me to refresh, or do I have to stay. So here it got a little bit close. We got really close, so we had to be careful with how they were sending, because depending on how many people are going in and which type of troops are going in, you get defenses where you lose like 30-40 million. You get defenses where you lose more. And I'm just in the car, I'm also a little bit stressed, so I'm just making sure I'm in with the right gear setup, with everything's correct. And yeah, pretty much just waiting for their onslaught. When the onslaught happens, the first thing I do is look at my reinforcements. Typically, I would say don't pull your reinforcements unless you go below 15 million or so, almost like half your march size. Here I knew there's a good chance for me to reinforce because of how slow they were resetting their double onslaught. I knew there's a good amount of time for me to reset and go in again. So as you can see, the first defense that we just saw here, and it's all happening live, so it's going to be a little bit quick, but the first defense that we saw, we lost only like 40-50 million, but the second defense got so much closer. It just all a matter of which troops go in, how lucky or unlucky we get. Eventually, I'm going to get super lucky and my reinforcements probably aren't going to die, which just gives me a lot of cushion. It kind of sucks for my clanmates because they have to keep refreshing, but I'm losing like almost like 500k every time they hit, which means my troops are staying in there for as long as possible, and I'm getting less wounded and more time to, occupy the fort and just get more shards. But pretty much, again, all I have to do at this point, if we're trying to get a successful defense, is look at the reports and look at my reinforcements. And that's all I'm doing, is trying my best to look at the reinforcements, look at the reports, and see how that goes. Depending on how it goes, I can decide whether I need to pull my reinforcements, what exactly to do. And again, it's also important to look at the troop types that they're sending, just to get a good idea for, I missed the first round of attack. So when we're going in for the attack, there's a good chance some of our players could switch to the necessary troop types. Again, when we get to the attack points, you're going to see that how we did it, how we dealt with it, how we scouted their towers, and how exactly we went for it. At this point, also, I wish I would have had the ability to record myself in the voice call, because we were all in a voice call trying to organize everything and try to stay as organized as possible to keep the enemy out. I would say the enemy probably was stronger than us. They just didn't have the right mentality to break and kick us out. I mean, at this point in HOLMGANG, I don't think it's possible to kick any clan with only 2 onslaughts. I would say you probably need 3 onslaughts if you want to be like, you know, safe and just make sure that the tower breaks. You know, you only have a limited amount of time. You have 15 minutes. So sending 2 onslaughts where you don't break the tower just is a bad decision, because, you know, by the time you pull and you go in with your 3rd onslaught, there's a good chance, or, you know, 3rd or 4th, basically, they're going to go again with double onslaught. So they're going to give us enough time to refresh our reinforcements. So there's a good chance we fill up all our reinforcements. Here I'm looking at my shards just to make sure how many I have, just to see how much I make by the end of it. But yeah, again, as we see, I'm looking through the defense just to see what troop types they have. This clan was really tricky because they had only a few players, but most of their players had flexibility when it came to troop types. And again, here we see the defense that I took with my 10 billion T1 wall. All they killed was almost 1 billion T1s. I don't really mind. I know some people say it's going to ruin your KDR and all those stuff, but I've seen so many worse KDRs that it really doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care about the KDR. I'm probably going to get rid of the T1s. You know, I don't want to lose points or lose a category for us in CVC. Depending on how it goes, I'm probably going to get rid of the T1s. But so far, it seems that I'm going to be able to go into KVK Fury with them. And yeah, I'm going to let anyone who wants to kill my T1s take a shot at me. I don't mind losing some T1s and swapping them for shards. Some people are going to say it's going to ruin your KDR, but, you know, the game's so much more than KDR at this point, you know. So for me, it just doesn't make that big of a difference. There's only 2 minutes left, as I'm mentioning here in the chat, which sucks because I love the defense. Like, they're not breaking us, so, you know, we're only getting a lot of shards. That's why I'm like saying no, but I'm more excited that we didn't lose towers. Basically, we were defending another tower at the same time. I'm only focused on this tower because this was the tower that I was in. The other towers, they do go for in the end, because we're only focused on the towers that give us the maximum point difference. The good thing was, I think by the end of it, we were able to take advantage and save most of our towers, actually, enough so that they couldn't get the advantage over us in terms of points, so they could just tank it with the amount of troops lost. But again, based on how the reports are looking, we seem to have a really safe cushion when it comes to points, and that just is enough to push us into like further categories where we go into the offense of the 3rd round, and we're more comfortable with how we're doing it. Again, as you guys see here, they're going for the other towers that we all pulled to go to the number 7. But again, you know, a level 4 and a level 1 or whatever those other towers were, it doesn't really make a difference to us, because the 7's going to give us the better or bigger cushion. So we just need to save the 7, 8, and 9, and there's no way they can catch up, pretty much. And yeah, so again, waiting for the event or for the towers to run out, I just make sure that my boosts are kept up. I don't want to lose those boosts, because, you know, they could still go for onslaughts on cities, because they did that at the start. As soon as I poured it to the grass, I got a really big onslaught. It was 159 million, so it was a max onslaught just sent directly to my city. Again, I'm doing what I need to do, make sure my hero doubles was in my city before I jumped. I, you know, checked my gears. I went back to town because the 15 minutes of preparation, there's nothing to do here. So pretty much we're safe. Enemy's not going to touch us here. And we're good to go into the next tower phase. So the video is probably gonna, yeah, that's me being immature there, but the video is probably gonna cut here into the next tower phase, and we could go there. You know, I'm just trying to keep the video a little bit longer here, because I was thinking they're gonna onslaught me or onslaught any other of our cities, but they just didn't want to onslaught. They wanted to go back and try to make a plan for their defense. So pretty much I just canceled it there. Okay, and we're back now here for the offense. I started recording late again, which sucks. But as you guys can see, we pretty much have our offense laid down. We got our offense going for the level 8 fort, and pretty much all we're doing is coordinating again with each other in the voice chat on what troops we need to use. I'm going in with scouts. As you guys see there, I didn't pull my hero double, which was a really risky move, but I boosted and I just wanted to make sure I get the scout just to see what they have. Pretty much all they had was extra melee, which is the one thing that I could see here, and the cavalry. They had some cav players, and those cav players really made a difference. So pretty much all we're doing here, going with 3 T4 onslaughts. We're trying to get rid of all the tower troops because it's pointless. Well, it's not pointless, but it's, wasteful to go with T7s when you could just use T4s and break those tower troops for much cheaper cost. So that's what we're going to do. Probably do 2 rounds of T4s. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a few days. But as far as I remember, I think it's 2 rounds of T4s that we went for. And then, again, we're all talking about the strategy, how to be fast and how to be coordinated. So at this point, there's a good chance that we're talking about it in the voice call, just trying to get everyone as organized as possible, make sure how we're going to go about them, and get the timing right when the onslaughts are going to hit. So here I'm not setting. Eventually I'll take over and set, but pretty much, we don't even have to rush because there's nothing for them to pull. We just go in with our layered of 3 onslaughts, pull back and wait for our respective onslaughts to be full, and just go back in with them T4s again, because that's what we had planned. And T4s just go in. We don't need to, care about how they go in. We'll probably scout one more time before we go with the T6s or the higher layers. Just take our time and make sure what we're doing works, because all it takes is pushing them down to having no tower troops, and then pretty much if we're fast enough and if they're giving us a good window, we can probably kick them out, which is all we have to do. So yeah, I was right pretty much. We went with the 2 T4 onslaughts, and now we go for T6s. Again, we're all in chat, but just for the couple people that aren't there in the voice call, you want to make sure that they also know what to do. Here we had a little bit of a confusion because we were trying to go for T6s, but then we decided, just based on scout reports, just to go for another T4 shot, just to make sure everyone is okay with the fact that we're going to break the towers. And we know some people didn't have T6s, so we only found out later as I made the call, but some people didn't have T4. So again, I'm going T6s. So here I'm going in with the scouts, just get a quick scout. And it's kind of difficult to talk over all of this because it's happening so simultaneously. But pretty much all we can see is the tower doesn't have any more T6s. All the tower has are T7s. Here we could decide, okay, do we want to go with a T7 onslaught? Do we want to go with T6 onslaught? I don't really remember what we did, but we're going to find out soon. I'm setting an onslaught here. Yeah, we decided to go with T6s just to get rid of the remaining T7s in the tower. And that's a fair decision. Some clans, if you can load 5 or 6 onslaughts, you probably decide at this point to go with your 5 or 6 T7 onslaughts. But just make sure everyone has their T6s in the onslaught. Make sure all onslaught setters are ready together at the same time. And it's just a matter of getting the right onslaught in at the right time, and you are set pretty much. But yeah, here we're all making sure we all only have T6s, going through each other's onslaughts just to help each other. Here there was a player that didn't have, and I think Archangel also came in with the wrong troops. It's good to look through each other's onslaughts just to give each other a shout. And, it's always practical when you are in a voice call, because it doesn't take, the extra time to write to someone, okay, this person is in with the wrong gear or the wrong troop type or the wrong shaman, whatever it is. You just shout it out in the call, and everyone else will try their best to hear it out and adjust accordingly. And as long as no one talks over each other, there's a good understanding for what exactly to do. So yeah, it gives you the sense of being organized, and all it takes is just organization. Because if those players have the organization to beat you to reinforcements, you're not going to break them with 3 onslaughts. But at the same time, we're at the point in the game where it's not just about fully organization or speed or anything else. It's more also about how far in research you've been, and that makes a difference. some of us are able to break even troop types that are match opposing to us. So like siege players could break killers depending on how far they've gone with their new research. So yeah, but let's get back into HOLMGANG. Again, here, we're trying to get everyone to fill the OS so we get as big of an impact. Here, my onslaught is pretty much set. I start and I go in quickly because we are obviously coordinating through the voice chat. And here we go with the T7s. I'm thinking there's going to be another scout here by me. Yep, there is that scout. Again, I didn't, put my hero double in my city. I don't know, I was playing risky. But pretty much this is a really good sign for us. Only 243, which means our T6 onslaughts also won on points probably. So we're pretty confident. And here all we have to do is, again, just time our onslaughts to hit at the same time, just fast enough for the enemy to not have a chance to refill their towers. And I think I've showcased this before in another HOLMGANG series, which I live streamed. If you guys want to check that out on my channel, that's also there. But pretty much all it takes is 3 well-timed onslaughts and the enemy doesn't have a chance to go in. It doesn't matter if you're like 20 trillion to 200, it doesn't really make a difference as long as you time your onslaughts properly and the enemy doesn't have a chance to go in with the reinforcements. Here we see them pulling, which also gives us a window, but we don't really take advantage of it because we know that the 3 onslaughts are probably going to break them. And we don't have to, we don't have to rush or we don't have to make any risks. Here I just start my onslaught accidentally. I know it was a little bit weird, but again, we tried to coordinate in the call. I pull back to see how everyone else is boosting just to make sure my boosts reach. And of course we break them. And luckily my onslaught is the one that lands and breaks it, but pretty much pull back our troops. Every other tower at this point has been broken. And we get a chance to look at the onslaughts and we see it only took 3 onslaughts to break them, even though they had the fortress up to brim. And if we look really carefully at the reports, what we found out was they still had 2 people manage to go in between the 3 onslaughts into reinforcements, which was kind of like crazy because our onslaughts were pretty much well timed to hit either like instantaneously, if not like fully instantaneously, but they were well timed to go in together. But pretty much, again, we broke all the towers of our enemy at this point. We're in a good spot because, we got the towers. We were able to defend our towers the last round and we're able to go into the next round without being worried about anything else. So pretty much, again, back to defense. We're leaving the 2 other towers. I think there are some people with troops in them, but pretty much most of our force is going to be focused on the level 9 because at this point we did the math and it seemed that holding the level 9 is all that it would have taken for us to be able to, win the phase. And we're just looking at some defenses because they had a tendency to go for some of our towns and, some players sometimes could make mistakes and forget to activate their hero doubles or whatever. So it's good to always, be on the lookout, take care of each other. And if you guys work as a team, it doesn't make a difference whether the enemy is the strongest clan in the game. If you work good enough as a team, there's a good chance that you can beat them. And I think this video is pretty much a good example of how teammate could, overcome brute force or teamwork, overcome brute force because yes, they had a few players, but they had really strong players. They had really, they seemed to be at least decently worked players, 2-3 trillion players, and most of our players were, relatively smaller. Like 1 trillion is 1.5 trillion is probably our biggest player, but they seem to be confident in the fact that they had troops. Again, I'm not gonna call them out, but I would say for them, it seemed like the confidence in having bigger sizes was probably the reason for their downfall. If it was me in that clan, like one of my biggest advices to them would be, you have enough players to go for 3 onslaughts. Why would you go for 2? But it's different situations and everyone makes their decisions accordingly. But pretty much here, all we have to do is make sure that we're good, make sure that everyone is ready to go into the onslaught, into the tower. I apologize. And you know, here they kind of fooled us. They went for the level 2, but it wasn't like we're defending it. Probably gonna go for the next tower, you know, the level 8, which we were actually sending some troops inside, but you know, maybe they didn't go for that. I don't remember. But they sat next to the level 9. We assumed they were just going to go for the level 9, and they went for the level 2. Obviously, it's an easy target. You know, you want to get your points, get some of those shards also from the tower troops. So here, it seemed they were going for the level 2, but it was just one player from their city that was pulling in from the onslaught. So, you know, it just caused a little bit of a confusion. Not that big of a deal. We're still able to manage. And yeah, just going to be able to wait here and see what they do. I know for a fact my boosts are running properly. I'm trying to look at the scores, but the scores haven't updated here. And obviously when you're doing home gang, make sure you use your big boost every time, especially if you're risking and sitting around the fort. You know, there's a good chance that there's a couple onslaughts, whether it's your own enemies or any other clan that needs some points to push their own enemies. Like if they're tied, they're probably going to come for you and try to break your city. So, you know, be careful and use your best boost, because, you know, it's only a 2-hour event and you probably need 2 boosts every time there's an action phase. So like maybe 12 boosts total or more. I can't actually do the mental math right now, but you know, just use your boost. If you're going to use if you're going to waste like 5 minutes of extra boost, it doesn't matter. It's better to be safe. But pretty much all I'm doing is here looking at the tower. There are some hero doubles in there, but it's not that big of a deal. And the enemy clan knows that they need to break the level 9 at least to have a chance at this home gang to begin with. So if they don't break the level 9, there is no chance that they break it. And you know, here I did something that was kind of like risky, but I waited for their onslaughts to be sent to the tower to activate my boost. But I go back and activate these other big boosts which have been running. And you know, obviously before this, I probably activated another 3250 in defense when it was defense preparation, just to stay in there and you know, keep my troops in there so we could plan for what exactly we had in there, what traps we needed, and how we were trying to keep the enemy out. And you know, all of those go into account. It's not just about setting a trap regardless of what troops you have. So you know, you want to set a trap based on what troops also go inside. And you know, if the troops complement the tower troops, it's even better, because it makes it a little bit more difficult for the enemy clan to break those tower troops. And again, they're taking their sweet time coming in with 2 onslaughts, and it's just giving us enough time to refresh. And again, all I have to do in a defense phase is pretty much just make sure that my troops in reinforcements stay alive. And if they're not alive, if they're going below a threshold and I need to pull quickly, that's all I have to do. Make sure that I pull my troops in time and, you know, refresh and stay back inside so that, you know, we have a good chance of defending the tower. So again, I don't really remember what I'm doing. I'm more thinking that they're probably going to go for this because half of our players pulled, and there's a good chance that they will go at the level 8. But I think at this point, even they haven't decided what exactly they want to do. They want to go for the level 9 because that's the one thing that they have to break in order to stay in the fight. But you know, we're there and discussing whether, you know, there's a good chance that they're probably going to go for the level 8 because most of our players are in the level 9. We're surrounding it. The level 8 seems to have no reinforcements. And again, you know, I keep saying, you know, but one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you play home gang, it's a game of numbers too. It's not just about going. All right, so all I'm doing here is pretty much just taking a look at the tower troops just to understand what exactly we have to work with and how many more troops or onslaughts it's going to take from them to get us to a point where we have to be more on our game. And so far we have a good safety cushion. We don't have to worry much about what exactly is going on. And pretty much, again, we see the 2 onslaughts coming in, but look at the time that it takes for them to pull. Again, I'm looking at the defense, looking quickly at my reinforcements, but look at the time that it's taking for them to pull their marches. And that's just enough time for all our players to go back in with their reinforcements, By the time they set another onslaught, we're already back to 90%, 80% of 85% of what we had in the tower. So it makes their onslaughts less efficient because it takes 6 of them to be in an onslaught. And when you have that many troops in the onslaught, you want to be as efficient as possible. So if you could go in with more onslaughts, or divide your troops in a way that you're able to join multiple onslaughts. And they had enough players. They had enough players online to be able to go for 3 onslaughts, but somehow they were only going for 2. I don't really understand what exactly was their strategy, but it worked out for us because it meant that we had more time to go in with our reinforcements. And sometimes you don't even have to refresh. So I still have enough troops, like 80% of my existing troops are still in there, so I don't even have to refresh. All I have to do, taking a quick look at the score, 25-7, and then looking at my personal points just to see how many points I've made. Try to make a guess at how many shards I've made too. But again, it's almost been 5 minutes and they've only gone in with 4 onslaughts, and it takes so much time in between for reinforcements. And the saddest part, I guess here is the point that they probably go for the level 8 because they're scouting all the towers. So there's a good chance that they're gonna go and get the level 8. Some people have their doubles in there. They didn't really mind, and I think we didn't really mind at all because we knew if we defend the level 9, since we started with the attack phase, we had a good chance of winning. We basically would win if they couldn't break our level 9, especially since we broke their level 8s and the level 7, and most of their towers or all of their towers broken in our attack phases. So again, we thought that they're going to go for the 8, but they didn't. They changed their mind, or they wanted to go for the level 9 because they wanted to stay in the fight. But the fact that they came in with 2 onslaughts and weren't really taking into consideration what troops we had was just a mess. And I looked at the tower, I saw that there's enough room for me to do a quick pull and a refresh, so I have a few extra troops in there. You probably shouldn't do that versus any other enemies, but seeing as how slow they were sending the onslaughts, I knew that I have enough of a window to go in with another reinforcement. So again, the thing that I was saying about keeping your troops in line with what the towers are, one thing that we just noticed there was the tower still had had melee T7s. And that's big because, some of the troops that we had in there, including our melee troops, made sure that the tower's troops stayed alive. And that's an extra 27 million troops that the enemy has to face. Granted, they're going to be much weaker. It is at the end of the game. It's at the end of the day, it's a matter of troops versus troops. And if you have 400 million troops and every time your onslaught hits, there is much less troops, there's a good chance for you to survive those hits. The melee are still surviving. The enemy hasn't made any adjustments. There we go. There we can see some of the melee dead. But even if those 15 million belonged to the tower, there's a good chance that those troops, even if they belong to the tower, that means there's still 11 million tower troops left. And this is 8 onslaughts into this round of the tower. So yeah, for those of you that aren't aware, this is probably a good strategy to keep in mind, is keeping your troops in line with the tower troops if you have the ability to change your troops around. Some people say make it a mesh. There's a good chance that the enemy won't know what to send, but the problem is if your tower troops are on their own, they're probably going to die and fall really quickly because it doesn't take much troops to get rid of the tower troops. Again, here, I do a greedy refresh. I probably don't even need to, but seeing as how slow the enemy is going in, I know with my speed, I have a chance of going in back with troops. And throughout this home gang, I think we had defenses like this last one where it got quite close, and we had defenses like the one before the last one hit where it was just so far. It was like 40 million. And then we had one where there was like 126 million, because the enemy was also trying to adapt to our troops. They here is the point where they started to send more cavalry. And if they would have done this maybe at the start of their onslaughts, they probably would have had a good chance, because the majority of our players had switched to archers in order to combat their melee and killers, because they were sending a lot of melee and killers, and they could have caught us all off guard. Here again, I'm starting to lose more troops because of the move to cavalry. Those cavalry are going to target my siege. Do a quick give myself enough chance to revive or heal some of my troops just to keep my infirmaries open. And I think that's something that you guys should do if you have an enemy that gives you enough of a chance, just, to save a few troops. And here we see some T8s, which is crazy. Their clan is starting to use some T8s. Good for them, but I think at this point in the game, it's probably too soon for the majority of the clans. I think bigger clans probably have a good chance of, using their T8s effectively, but I don't think, smaller clans still, if they're not maxed enough, it just doesn't make a difference. Again, here we see a bunch of difference, because now our players are also trying to adjust to the troops that the enemy has. Instead of there being a lot more archers and siege troops that the cavalry could target, we see a movement to more cavalry killers. I think there was more melee in there too, just give us a good chance to do better and survive. All we have to do is survive for like almost another minute, and we'll be set for this home gang pretty much, and we can just play the rest of the event more relaxed. One thing that I wanted to point out was, it was crazy for me that I barely lost any troops. I did lose a few troops here and there, but I feel like I was in most of the defenses without even needing to refresh. And it just goes to show, if the enemy isn't taking the time to do their due diligence and understand the troops that we are using, there's a good chance, even if they have the ability to change their troops, which this clan did have, there's a good chance that they just can't take advantage of it, and leaves us with enough of a cushion to just go ahead and take the lead. But again, here I'm switching back to town because there's the 15 minutes of preparation. I don't need troops. I'm just gonna sit in town and hope for them to send another onslaught to me, which doesn't happen. But just in case we're facing other clans, also we never know who's gonna hit us. It's a good chance or a good habit to get into, as long as you're able to make your mind and go back. And again, here, we're back with another offense phase. It seems like a really easy offense. All we have to do is break their nines. We scouted their lower level towers, and those towers didn't have any reinforcements, so we just went for those. Here, I think we went with T4 onslaughts. We don't really have to do the whole sending everything at the same time. As soon as your onslaught's full, you pretty much can go here. But again, we're trying our best to also coordinate this movement in voice call. Here, again, make sure, or if you're also trying to do this, you don't want your teammates to go in with T7s just so they waste their T7s. If you're playing as a team, you have to take care of each other. So make sure you look through it. If there's a teammate that somehow didn't get the memo, just give them a quick reminder, a nudge, and they'll be able to go in. So again, we get a confirmation to send because all of their onslaughts were ready. We do that. I think we go with 3 T4 onslaughts here. Yep, that's what we do. I'm really low on my T4 wall, but again, I'm looking at the reports and see that we're at T6s, which means that this probably isn't really needed. We could switch to T6s here, but you know, T4s are super cheap and our clan didn't have many T6 players. Here I'm doing the right thing and removing my hero double, which I should have done every time because, you know, they were onslaughting me, so I didn't want to get hit. I didn't look at the scout report, but I'm going to look at it here just for my own confirmation, just to, you know, I already seen the battle report, so I knew they didn't have T4s, but it's always good to send some scouts here and there. Here we move to T6s, which makes a lot of sense. I'm probably going to scout the tower one more time. But again, just reminding everyone in chat that we're doing T6 and make sure to check it. You know, it's okay if people make mistakes because some people, you know, they might not be reading the chat and they might not have gotten a good understanding of what exactly the strategy is. But, you know, just give everyone a quick reminder, push them out of the onslaught. They probably get a good understand, or they understand what exactly is happening and they quickly adjust. You know, once your march gets returned to you, you get an understanding of, okay, we're changing troop types. Quickly send the correct troop type and everyone will fill and we'll send the onslaught through. Again, the goal with the T6 onslaught here is only to break the tower's T6s. We don't really care about getting to the enemy's troops. All we have to do here is break the tower's T6s and we'll be set. And you know, some players sometimes forget about their march sizes. You just give them a quick reminder and it should be okay. You know, some players just sometimes forget. It's fine. You know, it happens to all of us. You get excited, you get in the heat of the moment and you just forget about it. Again, going in with the T6s, trying our best to coordinate with the other onslaught setters. So we go in simultaneously, even though it's not necessary. And we switch to T7s. Here is probably the point that I wished we had gone with another T6. Even though it's like not that big of a deal, I think another T6 would have just made sure that the enemy doesn't have any extra T7s, because here you see 375 million pretty much means that the enemy has more tower troops left. And it means that it's a good idea to go in with another T6 onslaught just to get rid of those tower troops. But pretty much the event's almost about to end. We knew we're going to win regardless, and we didn't really mind giving the enemy a chance to go in with reinforcements because that just meant we could get more shards from their troops. So here we just fill. Make sure you check your teammates, make sure you check your own onslaughts also. You know, everyone gets the proper troops in because you don't want to go in with someone that's in with T4s. If you're going with the full T7, your goal is to break. Again, I make sure that I check people that are like newer into the onslaught. Again, I started a little bit early and look at our teammates just to make sure that their onslaughts are timed and we send, but obviously we don't break because the tower troops are still in there. So here it's more like a free for all. If your onslaught is full, you pretty much can go because we know that the enemy is just taking way too long to fill the reinforcements. So I'm just waiting for my onslaught to be full. Onslaught's full, I go in because I am getting confirmation from the other setter that they're going in. And you guys could see there, as soon as mine hit, another setter hit, and we send another onslaught. We really didn't mind that the enemy was going in. Again, one of our setters is going in. We know that the enemy is taking too long to reinforce, and here is probably the point where I get the killing shot, I think. The enemy was just giving us enough time to go in and kill them. I think one thing that was nice about this killing shot was there were T8s. The enemy was using 2 sets of T8s, which is why they had a better defense this time versus the last time. Their T8s were keeping them alive, and as you can see, the onslaught compared to the first onslaught that we sent was much more closer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, teamwork, confirm with everyone what exactly you want to do and just go in with your onslaughts. As long as you manage to time them properly, whether it's 2 onslaughts, 3 onslaughts, 4 onslaughts, as long as you can manage to, you know, time the speed and time everything else properly, you don't have another issue. But yeah, that's pretty much our home gang event. We did end up winning 45 to whatever their points were. I don't really remember, but yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.